Hey, what's up? Can everybody hear me? If you guys can hear me, let's blow up the chat right now because it is July 10th. And hey, listen up. We just passed the midpoint of 2023. And I just want to start off by asking everybody, how many could remember back to their goals they had at the beginning of this year? Who had goals for 2023? I think we all did. Call it a New Year's resolution, a goal, an outcome, something you wanted to achieve this year. Y'all remember those? That was over 6 months ago. And what I'm wondering is, if we had to go into halftime right now, we're coming out of the locker room. Let's just say we went into halftime for July 4th weekend and everybody had a holiday celebrating Independence Day, the great Independence Day of our country. But what about Financial Independence Day? And how many of you are committed to taking steps forward this year in 2023 to your own financial independence? Type in yes into the chat box. Go ahead, type in yes. Yeah, you see, like we're coming out of the locker room. If this were a football game or a sports game where there's a there's a first half and a second half, and we're coming out of the locker room. And here's the reality. Here's the reality. I know where most of us are at. I know where I'm at. And most of us are probably a little behind on our goals. And why is that? It's been a tougher year than the last 10 years. You know, there hasn't been that many apartments for sale. Interest rates rose dramatically over the last 14 months. There's been a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of clutter out there. There's a lot of distractions out there. And so a lot of people are behind on their goals. And some of the problem is what's going on out there, and there's just not as many transactions to buy, and lenders aren't loaning enough money. But the other problem is something we could control, and that's what's going on in our minds. And so tonight I'm going to talk about the biggest skill set that we have. The biggest skill set that we have, yes, we need to understand mechanics. Yes, we need to understand selecting the right markets. Yes, we need to understand underwriting deals. Yes, we need to understand raising money. But the biggest skill set we have is what's going on in our own minds. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight, because what I found is that people that are successful, the millionaires and the multimillionaires, they think differently than the common people. The common person that goes to college, gets a job, saves their money, works Monday through Friday, is in the rat race, which I used to be in for 17 long years. And so I could talk about both mindsets, because I used to have the mindset of an employee. I used to have the mindset of like the typical college graduate. But I've learned to be different. I've learned to be a millionaire investor and a millionaire business owner. And what I found is the single biggest difference is the way I think, okay? And for me to get to the next level, it's going to continue to be the way I think. And for you to get to the next level, it's going to be the way you think. And so that's how I wanted to start off tonight, is just talking about our mindsets or our biggest skill sets. And I'm really happy to see so many of you tune in tonight. And so for those of you that are here, congratulations, and really, really happy. We had a lot more that registered that didn't show up, and hopefully they'll be able to listen to the recording, because what I'm going to talk about is important. Okay, it's important. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to share my slides, and we're going to go ahead and kick things off here. And super excited to be with you tonight for about the next 60 minutes plus or minus. Okay. So I always like to start with our why. You know, why do I do what we do? Why does the Sumrock team do what we do? Okay, and we're passionate about what we do. And the reason I'm passionate about what we do is because I was just like so many of you. I had not 1 degree, but 2 degrees, and I struggled. I was in the corporate rat race, and I was an average employee. I worked for 5 different companies. And I followed a step-by-step process, a system, a framework. And I was able to get out of the rat race in 3 years. And so our mission, our why, is to impact over 1 million of you. And the fact that you're on here tonight or listening to this recording, you're one of those million people. And so we want to impact you and mentor you and inspire you and motivate you and teach you to achieve financial freedom by investing in apartments and following our proven system, our framework. And we're not just in this to make money for ourselves and our investors, but we're in this to make the world a better place and improve communities. So who's up for this? Who's up for making money, becoming financially free, and improving communities? Type in yes in the chat box. Go ahead and type in yes. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So what we're going to talk about over the next 60 minutes or so, plus or minus, is for those of you that are just tuning in, I'm going to give you a short intro about who I am, and then I'm going to dive into the topic that I said we would cover. We're going to talk about the millionaire mindset, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some mechanics that are important. And I want to remind you about the current opportunity that we have in front of us, okay? So there's a great opportunity right now to buy real estate at a discount. And I want to make sure all of you know that. And I want to set the record straight with truth, because part of what's going on in our minds now isn't true. We have negative thoughts. We have fear. We have anxiety. We have uncertainty. We have distractions with the news and with social media. So I want to talk to you about what's really going on, so that you can make an informed decision and get started on the path. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So just a little bit about me and my background, and I already said some of this stuff. For those of you that know me, I won't spend too much time on this, so bear with me. But for those of you that are new to me, how many people are brand new to me, by the way? If this is the first time you've ever listened to me, type in, I'm new. Type in the chat, I'm new. Go ahead. Great. Karen, I love it. Shalonda, that's awesome. Nicholas, Helen, Roxanne, Jerry, Chris, how you guys doing? Christine, Jaylyn, Jamil, Anna Gray, Venkat. I love it. Joni Dickinson. Okay, great. So I'm not just wasting my breath. There's a lot of new people on. Okay, lots of new people. So I spent 4 long years getting a degree in engineering. And I spent 2 more long years getting an MBA, and you can see where I went and how much I spent in today's dollars. And what that got me was a $10,000 a month job. It got me 17 years in corporate America, working 8 to 5 for somebody else, helping somebody else get rich, helping somebody else fulfill their dreams. It was 9 hours a day of commuting, hard work, struggle, frustration, anxiety, stress, unfulfillment, and desperation. And through all of that, I got laid off once and I got fired once. Seriously. And then I picked up the book, Robert Kiyosaki's book. How many people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, type in yes. Just type in yes. I want to see who read the book. I want to see who read the book. By the way, I'm going to spill the beans now. How many of you know about our upcoming event, our Apartment Investor National Conference that's coming up August 25th, 26th, 27th? You all know about it? I'm going to talk about it later today. If you know about the event, type in yes, because I'm going to tell you right now that for the 3rd time in 6 years, we're going to have Robert Kiyosaki back on our stage right here in Dallas, Texas. Robert Kiyosaki, Dallas, Texas, August 25th, 6th, and 7th. So I'm going to give you more information about that, but he's going to be here in person. So who's excited about that? Is anybody excited about that besides me and my team? If you're excited about Kiyosaki, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. Okay, awesome. So look, the reason this is our 6th Apartment Investor National Conference, and I've had Kiyosaki now 3 out of 6 years. And the reason is he's a fundamental piece of my success story. Okay, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad in the year 2000, and it blew my mind. I learned about ESBI in the second book, The Cash Flow Quadrant. E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed. That's the track that I was on. Nobody ever taught me about the right side of the cash flow quadrant, being a business owner and an investor. And the reason I love apartment buildings is because you can invest in apartment buildings as a passive investor or as a general partner in a syndication, and you could be a B and an I, a business owner or investor right from the get-go. So how many people want to be B's and I's? If you want to be a B and the I, type in B and I in the chat. Type in B and I. That's right. That's where you make more money, have more freedom, pay less taxes. So if you want more money, more freedom, and pay less taxes, you want to pay attention to what I'm saying. And apartment ownership, apartment investing, apartment syndication is one of the best vehicles to be a successful business owner and investor. You see, I didn't do apartment investing just because I love apartment investing. I do love apartment investing, but I did it because I wanted to be a B and an I. It's laid out very simply and clearly in Kiyosaki's books. Okay. So I read the book and I came up with my why. I came up with a financial freedom number. You see, my income was $10,000 a month. And so Kiyosaki taught me, and now I'm going to teach you, that if you can have investment income that meets or exceeds your living expenses, or if you can have investment income that meets or exceeds your job income, then you could walk away from your job. And my job income was $10,000 a month. And so I came up with a financial freedom number, and I said, I absolutely must get $10,000 a month from my investments. And my why was to get the hell out of the corporate rat race in 5 years or less so I could live life on my terms and not my boss's, to have cash flow from my investments to pay for my lifestyle so that I never have to work again unless I want to, and really to enjoy my life to the fullest. And I was able to do that. I said I would do it in 5 years. I did it in 3 years. Okay, 3 years. So the first thing you're going to do, and this is a mindset thing, by the way, and I'm going to dive into that, is you're going to come up with your why. What is your financial freedom number? And why is it a must for you? How many people know what their financial freedom number is? If you know your financial freedom number, type it in the chat, a monthly financial freedom number, that if you hit this number from your investments, you don't ever have to work again unless you want to. What's your number? I love it. 10,000, 8,000, 30,000, 20,000, 15,000, 7,000, 12,000, 20,000, 6,000, 8,000. I freaking love it. And you guys are inspiring me and motivating me. I love it, love it, love it. Okay. So I was able to retire with 62 doors. The property that you see on the screen was my first property. It was 32 doors. I remember it like yesterday. And here's the thing. I read the Rich Dad books and it inspired me to take action. But the action I took was what changed my life. It wasn't the book. It was the action I took. The action I took was I went to a real estate investing seminar. Okay, and that seminar changed my life because it taught me the fundamentals of how to find and analyze and buy apartment buildings. And so 8 months later, I bought this 32-unit apartment building for just under $1 million in Pasadena, Texas, outside of Houston. And this property put about $4,000 a month in my pocket. And then 8 months after that, I bought this other 30-unit building, and it put another $3,000 or $4,000 a month in my pocket. And so now I'm making $7,000 to $8,000 a month within 16 months of reading the Rich Dad book and going to a seminar and learning their system. I got 62 units. I'm making $7,000 or $8,000 a month, and I'm not paying any tax on the $7,000 or $8,000 a month because of depreciation. And that's equivalent to about $10,000 a month of income where you're paying tax, because I was in the 37% tax bracket. So within 16 months, I was able to replace my job income with my investment income, and I was able to retire. Okay. And since then, just a little bit about me. I'm currently in 34 deals right now, almost 7,000 doors, over $1 billion in assets, and we have a pretty substantial annual cash flow. Now, this cash flow number ebbs and flows. It's probably lower than that right now because some of these deals are on variable rate loans, and some expenses went up and all that type of stuff, but also the rents went up. Okay. And I've had 22 more properties that I've sold. So if you look at I have about 7,000 units now, and I've sold over 3,400. So I've had over 10,000 units, and I've never, ever lost investors' money as a general partner in a syndication group over 22 years. So that's a little bit about me and my background. When I started in this business 22 years ago, we had zero income from our investments. 100% of my income was from my job, and that was it. I had a job, I had a 1 W-2, my tax return was 3 pages, and now my tax return is hundreds and hundreds of pages. I'm in 34 deals. I have so many Schedule K-1s, and our net worth, well, you can see where our income is, you can see where our net worth was, you can see where it is today, and you can see where I was paying taxes 5 years ago because I took my eye off the ball. I took my eye off of just earning income and growing my net worth. And 5 years ago, I really started focusing on tax optimization because it's not just how much you make, it's how much you keep. And I haven't paid tax in 5 years. And that's what this slide says. Then the reason I haven't paid tax in 5 years is I reinvest my income every year to the extent that I get depreciation that offsets my income. So the income that I make, I put it back into buildings, which give me more cash flow, which go up in value and gives me more tax deductions. Okay. So that's just a little bit about me. And instead of paying almost $1 million in taxes, now we contribute a lot of money to charity. So in a nutshell, the guy that you're listening to right now has been figuring this stuff out for 22 years. I've done over 50 deals personally. And I also, many of you know, have an education program, a mentoring program. We do live events like the one coming up in August with Robert Kiyosaki. And we have students. Students are people that me and my team mentor. And I've helped my students over the last decade do over 600 apartment deals all over the country. And this journey has cost me millions and millions of dollars of time and money. And so what I want to do a little bit today is share with you some of the tips and strategies that I've learned. And then for those that want to learn more about my system and my framework, you'll have the opportunity to come to this 3-day event at the end of August that Robert Kiyosaki will be joining me at. Okay. So if we look at what's going on in our world right now, I'm going to get a sip of this, by the way. We've had a lot of things going on. This last year and a half, or this last year, hasn't been easy. The last 12 to 14 months hasn't been easy. We've had unprecedented rate hikes. Unprecedented means never before in our history of the United States has interest rates gone up so fast, so high and so fast. We've had banks failing. People thought their money was safe in banks, but banks failed. So now you got a question, is my money really safe in a bank, or is it safer in an asset? Good question. I don't want to have too much of my money in banks right now. I'd rather have my money in assets. The stock market has been down. I haven't heard many people talk about crypto or NFTs in a long time. We're still in an inflationary environment. that the Fed is trying to tame, but they were the ones that created the inflationary environment. We have war going on between Russia and Ukraine. There's an election coming up in the US in just over a year. And I think everyone would pretty much agree that across the globe that we're in a recession. Wow. Aren't we excited about all that? In fact, I was a big Game of Thrones fan, and they talked about winter. And, winter hasn't been around in a long time, if you remember the Game of Thrones. But I could say in the last decade, the last 10 or 11 years, we have not seen winter. We've had this long economic expansion, especially in real estate investing and apartment investing, that if you were average and simply made the decision to get into the business, you would have done above average, because we were in an expansion, we were in a growth market, we were, propped up by, money printing and government policies. So for 11 years, anyone that got into this business, with very few exceptions, did really, really well. Okay. And now we're in different times. But what's different about this time is that in times of recession, there are massive, massive opportunities and fortunes to be made. How many of you understand this, by the way? How many of you know, and I'll probably show the slide, that Warren Buffett says, when people are greedy, be fearful. And when people are fearful, be greedy. So how many people realize that we are actually in an environment? In fact, I just saw a slide the other day that apartment buildings are down 21% from 14 months ago. 21%. So would you rather buy now when apartments are at a discount? Or would you rather wait until the market turns around and the prices start going up again? How many people would rather, it sounds like a rhetorical question, but that's right, Patricia, it is time to buy. That's right, Jerry, it's time to get greedy. Okay, the time is now. The time is now. The time could be the opportunity of the decade. Okay, it's certainly the best opportunity of the past decade to buy. Okay, yeah, I saw in the chat box, time to buy. 08 was awesome. Yeah, I don't know anybody in 09 and 10 that said, oh boy, I wish I would have had less real estate. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to share with you some of the beliefs that I've faced and heard over the last many years of me being in this business. I got in 02 when things were kind of steady and stable between 02 and 08. It was like a slow growth. There were some ups and downs, but between 02 and 08, things were kind of steady and stable. Then everybody knows what happened in 08. And at an 09 and 10, we were buying deals. Me and my students were buying deals. And I was told, Brad, you got to wait for it to bottom out. Don't catch a falling knife. Even in 2012, lenders were very stingy with loan dollars. It was really hard to get a commercial loan for an apartment building. It was hard to buy with any type of leverage. But we found a way because prices were so low. So what we did is we syndicated deals. And like a typical syndication is you're going to put 30% down and get a 70% loan. Well, we put 100% down. We raised 100% of the money from our investors and went out and bought deals for pennies on the dollar. It was a great strategy. People that got involved in those deals made tons of money. By 2016, I'm being told by people, some of them are famous people, that we're at the top of the market and things are going to crash. 2018, we're being told, hey, we are in the 8th inning of a 9-inning baseball game and we got to get out now. 2019, Brad, we're in extra innings. The good times can't last. Someone's going to get caught with a hot potato. 2020, the pandemic hit. Nobody saw it coming. Some people closed shop. for their apartment investing. They were like, with rent strikes and eviction moratoriums, this is the worst time to be buying. And let me tell you, it wasn't the worst time to be buying because rents were skyrocketing. Is one of the best times to be buying. But what happened is prices shot so far up. But then I heard, Brad, the prices are way too high and there's way too much competition. So we got to wait it out. Maybe some of those people were right, but we were buying with very low interest rates. So the deal still made sense. Then last year, when interest rates started going up, and what I still hear today is, Brad, the rates are way too high. We got to sit on the sidelines and accumulate dry powder and wait. And then in 2023, right now, I'm being, a lot of people are like, we got to wait for the bottom out. Like, can you see the common denominator? Wait. But what I've been doing for 22 years is I've been intelligently buying. And I say intelligently buying, strategically buying quality assets in quality neighborhoods. And the biggest mistake I've made over the last 22 years is not buying more. And I'll say that again. The biggest mistake I've made in the last 22 years is not buying more. Okay. So if we look at this, we just have to all understand that there are going to be economic cycles. There's going to be expansions when prices go up, and there's going to be contractions when prices go down or stabilize. Okay. And every deal over the long term is going to go up in value. And time and money will solve any problem. So any of you that are in deals right now that have a problem, you need time and you need money. And maybe you need more money than time. Okay. And I know people that are in deals that are having some challenges. We bought some deals, interest rates went up. We didn't account for the unprecedented rise in interest rates. And some people are facing challenges, but just know that this too shall pass. And if you can get money, whether it's through a loan or a capital call or anything else, and you have a strong business plan, you want to get through the cycle because this will pass and the market will shift. Now, for those of us that are looking at buying deals, we have to know that we're in a downturn right now. So it's better to buy when you're in a down cycle than when you're at the top of the cycle. So this is why there's an amazing opportunity right now to invest in apartments. We're down 20% from the peak of last year, 20%. Okay. So it's important to know, but what a lot of people do is when there's a downturn, they want to jump. If you look at this cycle as a roller coaster, a lot of people jump off the roller coaster at the bottom of the hill. And that's the worst time to jump off. You want to go down and buy at the bottom of the hill and ride the wave up to the top. But here's the whole dilemma is we never know when things are going to bottom out, and we never know when things are going to peak. We think we do, but we don't. But we need to know that there are market cycles and where we are in the cycle. And I could say now is we're not at the peak. We're 20% down from the peak. And so now is not the time to jump off the coaster. And if you're new and getting on the coaster, now is a great time to get on the coaster. I hope everybody realizes that. How many people believe what I'm saying, by the way, that now is a great time to get onto the roller coaster? Yes. Good, Noah. It is. Jerry, it is. Jamil, yes. Rodney, it is. Elizabeth, it is. Okay. It's a great time. So if you've been in the business, you do not want to jump off now. And if you're new, you want to get on now. Okay. Because we're in the down cycle. And now I want to talk about mindset issues again. Like I've been talking about mindset the whole time, if you haven't noticed, but most of you, your problem with your mindset is you're thinking too small. See, when I had a job, I would work all year and I would get a single-digit raise. That's called an incremental change. You work all year, you get a 3% raise, maybe a 5% raise. Maybe if you're a rock star, you get a 7% raise. But in apartments, the way it works is, especially if you're on a GP team, and I showed you guys before, and my topic tonight is not how to 10x your money as a general partner, but that's going to be covered at the conference coming up. But when we start thinking bigger and doing bigger deals, we can accelerate our growth by exponentially and not incrementally. See, I was tired of working 17 years for somebody else, being an above average performer and getting single digit raises if I was lucky. And there were also years where I was told, Brad, you're lucky to keep your job. There are no raises. We have salary freezes. Has anyone ever been in a salary freeze environment? Has anyone ever been in the salary freeze environment? Yeah, me too. So the one thing I want you all to be thinking of, and we're going to cover more of this at the conference, is how to switch your mind from incremental improvement or growth of wealth incrementally versus exponentially. Okay. And I'm going to show you the mechanics of how we do that at the conference. Now, the other thing is that a lot of people right now, people I know, are in what I would call a lower state of mind. Okay. A lower state of mind, here's the characteristics of a lower state of mind. You have a lot of negative thoughts. You have a lot of clutter in your head. You're overthinking everything, overanalyzing. You have confusion. Maybe you're getting opinions from 20 or 30 different people. That's a recipe for confusion, not clarity. You become indecisive. Your main moods and emotions that you experience are fear and anxiety. And a symptom of this is you're trying to figure everything out by yourself. You're not leveraging experts. And so when you're in a low state of mind, you're kind of stuck, you're paralyzed, you don't know what to do. Okay. And I know there's a lot of people that are in that lower state of mind. If we contrast that with a higher state of mind, is we have positive thoughts, we have more clarity, we have more decisiveness, we have more confidence, we have more courage. And one of the reasons that we have more confidence and clarity and courage is that we're not going at this alone, is that we're leveraging mentors, we're leveraging communities of investors that have been down the yellow brick road before us. Okay. So, be honest with yourself, like, where are you at right now? And look, we all get in lower states of mind, but the way to get out of it, and if you think of your brain as an antenna, you see, when you're in a lower state of mind with negative thoughts, you tend to attract and tune into that lower state of mind frequency. So a lower state of mind attracts a lower state of mind. When you're in a higher state of mind, you tend to attract a higher state of mind. And so that's why it's important to be aware of your state of mind. And the thing is, like, two people could be in a traffic jam, and one person in a low state of mind is going to be pissed off and frustrated and anxious and stressful, and the other person is going to maybe use that time to express gratitude or appreciation, or at least be calm. So it's not the traffic that causes you to be anxious, it's your state of mind. And I don't know if that's the best example, but I think everybody got the point. It's your state of mind that causes you to experience fear and confusion and stress. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to go from a lower state of mind to a higher state of mind, or what I have on this slide that's called going from confusion to clarity. And the best way to do this is, for every negative thought you have, I want to counterbalance it with a positive thought. Okay, so if you have negative thoughts about the economy or about pricing or about interest rates, I want you to come up with a counterpoint that's positive. And some of the ways that you can do that is you could understand business cycles. Like I showed you the business cycle, you could understand that it's normal part of business. It's a normal part of time in life, is that there's going to be different seasons. There's going to be different economic seasons. There's going to be upswings and downswings. There are going to be expansions and there's going to be recessions. And that every recession will pass. And that the best time to be buying is at the downturn, not on the up, not at the top, but toward the bottom. Okay, so hopefully that gives some people some clarity and some confidence. You also want to tune out distractions like the news and the newspaper and the New York Times and CNN, and yes, sometimes even like the Wall Street Journal. Okay, and what you want to do is, if you look at point 6, instead of tuning out social media and distractions, you want to connect with a community of people that are doing what it is that you want to do. You want to be around people that are doing what it is that you want to do. The other thing you want to do is you want to focus on your results. Like when I came up with 10,000 a month, I didn't focus on what I was afraid of, and I didn't focus on how to do it. I just said I need 10,000 a month of investment income. I focused on the result, I focused on the outcome, and then I focused on taking actions that moved me toward that outcome, and I didn't focus on what I was afraid of. And I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with becoming educated. I fell in love with going to seminars. I fell in love with underwriting deals. I fell in love with, getting to know the trade. And so you got to fall in love with the process, and you got to fall in love with the opportunity. Okay. So instead of focusing on negative thoughts and overthinking and confusion and being indecisive and going on alone, you want to counter your negative thoughts with positive thoughts so you can have more clarity, more decisiveness, more courage, and more confidence. And the best way to do that is to invest in yourself and be around other people that are doing it. And then every negative thought you want to replace with a positive thought. You want to understand business cycles. You want to tune out distractions. You want to focus on outcomes and fall in love with the process. Okay. So I want to give you some more facts about that, so you can see the opportunity, so you can fall in love with the opportunity. Real estate is on sale right now. We're 21% down from the peak. The fundamentals are strong, especially in the B and C class in major markets. Okay, we're seeing some cracks in the A class with like a lot of new inventory coming online and lease ups and move-in specials, but not in the B and C class. We're seeing really tight inventory. There's not enough B and C class housing to meet all the demand for people that need it. That's my third bullet point. There's a huge demand for B and C class multifamily housing, and home prices have become less and less affordable. Like the average working family that makes 50 or 60,000 a year, a median priced home is almost out of reach. They need 20% down, a 660 credit score. The pricing has gone up. The interest rates have gone up. So they're more likely to be renters. And if you're buying deals right now, there's less buyers competing against you than I've ever seen in the last 10 years. So instead of 30 people going after a deal, there's only 3. And we have great terms now that are buyer friendly. Again, I haven't seen the terms like this in a decade. And the tax benefits are still the best of any other asset class. And we're still in an inflationary market. And when there's inflation, the rents keep going up. Okay, so we have 8 great reasons to be in the business. And some of you may ask this, so I wanted to count. I had people emailing me this before tonight, so I wanted to address this. The way we win in a recession when we're in that down cycle is, number one, your mindset's got to be strong and you got to know the real estate's on sale. Number 2 is we get lower debt, and we look at all different types of debt. We look at fixed rate debt. We look at assuming fixed rate debt. We look at lower leverage type of deals. We got to pivot how we underwrite deals. In a recession, you have to be more conservative underwriting deals. Okay, and so you got to learn how to do that. And you got to invest with strong teams. General partners, the leadership teams of these syndications, they need to have strong financials, strong experience, strong track record, strong operations backgrounds. And number 5, you got to be in the absolute best markets. So the people that are losing now, they're not doing these things. They're in bad markets. They're in small markets with economies that are not diversified. They're in low growth or no growth markets. They have weak GP teams that have weak experience and weak financials, and they didn't underwrite their deals properly. And it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Okay. So this is the quote that I referenced earlier. And Warren Buffett, perhaps one of the greatest investors of all time, says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." So and I want to give you some more data around this. So this chart shows the average, the median. Not the average, the median. The median mortgage payment for the median priced home in the United States is $1,142 more than the median monthly rent for an apartment building. So how are working class families going to buy a home? They're not. So you need to look at this, and this is giving you going from the lower state of mind to a higher state of mind. You're getting information. You should get more confidence. Okay. And the facts support that it's a good time to be in a business catering to people that need to rent versus buy. And we had all these millennials that were moving in with their parents during COVID, and now they're starting to move out. So you can see we're still in like the over 30% of 18 to 34-year-olds are living with their parents, and they're going to be moving out, creating new households. So there's a lot of demand out there for multifamily housing, lots of demand. And finally, this is a report that came from the biggest bank in the United States, JP Morgan Chase. Just look at the last bullet point. Multifamily investors should aim to position themselves as buyers during this period. Okay. So the facts are out there. The data supports it. We need to be looking at investing and buying deals right now. Okay. And why, and what is the opportunity? And I summarized this before, but for those of you that are new, there's so many people out there that bought a few years back with interest rates at 2 or 3%, and now those rates have gone to 7.5%. They didn't underwrite for this. They didn't account for it. It was really hard to, but some people made a lot of mistakes. They didn't buy rate cap insurance. And so there's a lot of teams right now, a lot of syndication teams really struggling, doing capital calls, loans, looking for rescue capital, maybe looking to do a cash in refinance instead of a cash out refinance, or they need to sell at a discount, sell at a loss, sell at a discount. I just saw a chart the other day that like October of this year, there's going to be a record amount of loans coming due. And that's October, we're in July. And guess what? That means you have July, September, and October to get ready. Because the people that are ready are going to get the deals. If you're not ready, and if you're on the sidelines or you're on the peripherals looking in, you're not going to get the deals. The people that are going to get the deals are people like my students. Because they're ready, they're educated, they invested in themselves. We've had rising insurance and rising taxes in a lot of markets, and a lot of expenses that have exceeded people's projections. You know, the government created this inflationary environment and expenses have gone way up. And for buyer groups, we have lower risk. We have more opportunity to do due diligence. We have more opportunity to get our financing lined up. We have more opportunity to get our capital raised. We have more opportunity to put down less non-refundable money. We have less buyers chasing deals right now. And I'm just telling you, we're like 20% discount compared to our peak. So now is the time. Okay. And I'm just telling you, now's the time. With a couple things I want to talk about mechanics. And by the way, I know I referenced the 3-day event coming up, and we're going to go into these in a lot more detail, but like the mechanics are how things work. And we do need to know how things work. But the first thing is we need to know what our outcome is. Like, work on your mindset. Why must you become financially free? What is your financial freedom number? Don't focus on the how yet. First, focus on the outcome. Then take action. And the best action you can take is to get educated, learn from somebody that's doing it and has a track record and a heart of a teacher, and surround yourself with a community of other people that are doing it. Okay, and that's all happening later in August. And so the things that you're going to learn how to do is you're going to learn how to invest. You know, what does it mean to be a syndicator or a general partner? What does it mean to be a passive investor or a limited partner? And how do you invest with your own money? And how do we get paid on all three of those categories? Because there's different ways we get paid. You know, syndicators get fees and they get carried interest in deals, a percentage of the profits. We need to understand basic fundamentals like NOI, cap rate, the valuation formulas. We need to know the steps to finding deals and analyzing deals. We need to understand how to get do not only a financial analysis, but a market analysis. There's two ways that we fund deals. We have debt and we have equity. And you want to understand the differences, like what type of debt is best for what's happening in the market right now, and that changes. And how do we raise money? And how do we raise money legally? Okay, and what does the SEC have to do with apartment investing? See, these are all how-tos. But if you focus on the how-to first, you're going to mess yourself up. You need to focus on the why-to. Why should I get into apartment investing? What is the opportunity? How much money do I want to make so I could be financially free? And then you take action and you figure out the how. That's exactly what I did. And that's what my mentor, Tony Robbins, teaches us to do, is we don't focus on the how first, we focus on the why. And that is also a mindset. It's a mindset issue. And so many people ask how, and then you're not going to move forward. Structuring deals, that's a how. How do we structure the deals? How do we get paid? How do we split the profits between passive investors and general partners? Brad, what are all the steps to closing deals? Again, they stop getting started because they want to know how to manage a deal and they don't even have one yet. I get questions like that all the time. Well, Brad, if I come to your seminar and 2 years later buy a deal, how am I going to manage it? And I'm like, really? That's like putting in your GPS. Like when you put in your GPS, your directions on Google Map, it tells you to go, 0.4 miles and then exit 23B. And that's what you do. You go 0.4 miles and you exit 23B. You don't say, hey, what's going to happen 2 hours from now? So why would we do that for our financial future? Why would we sabotage our own financial future? Okay. So all these things are part of the mechanics that are learnable from anybody that is open to learning and that could take notes and they could follow instructions. All these things are learnable. Okay. And there's more mechanics, managing deals, key performance indicators, financial statements. There's a lot of them. Okay. And we're not going to cover them all now, but ultimately you're going to want to have you or people on your team that understand some of these things. Okay. And to go back to reference our 3-day event coming up, we're going to have a whole section on mechanics. And I'm going to have speakers talking about mechanics as well. Okay. So I do want to make sure I have time to talk about the event coming up and who some of the speakers are. And so the event coming up, and a lot of people ask, Brad, how do we get started? And the best way to get started is it's July 10th today. And so in about a month and a half, about 1 month and 15 days, we're going to have a 3-day event in Dallas, Texas. And it is our 6th annual Apartment Investor National Conference. And so we have different options. You could come in person or you could come virtual. And the ticket options, there's 3 ticket options. We have a platinum experience for $899 that retails for $1,497. We have a general in-person experience that retails for $697 and it's being offered for $349. And then we have a virtual experience, which means you do it from home and you get the content, but you don't get to be in the seminar room with hundreds and hundreds of other people, but you'll still get the information, and that's $247 being offered at $99. And so for those that are interested, and I'll go through the ticket options, just take a picture of that QR code and it'll bring you to the registration page. And I'll put this up again. Okay, I'll put it up again. Now, what I'm about to show you has not yet been released to the general public. And all of you listening tonight live will be the first to see who our confirmed speakers are. And then if you're watching this recording, you'll see it. And then at some point, it's going to be released to the general public. So before I tell you who the speakers are, who's excited about learning who some of the speakers are at this event? Type in, I'm excited. Now, you already know one of them. Who is excited? Okay. I know I'm excited. I know I'm very, very excited. Now, I could say in the past, we've had people like Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, Ed Milet, Jesse Itzler, just to name a few. And so here's some of the speaker lineup, and we're not done yet, but here's some of the major speakers we're going to have. Okay. So if we go from the left, we have my good friend, Robert Helms. Robert is the host of the Real Estate Guys radio show. It's one of the biggest real estate podcasts, and they do their own events and they have their own communities. Robert's a great friend, and he's going to deliver some great content. Now, the next guy, how many of you have heard of Nick Santonastasso? Nick was born with one arm and no legs. I'll say that again. He was born with one arm and no legs. And he is an incredible speaker that I met in an event, and his teachings changed my life. And if they change my life, they're going to change your life. So Nick is going to be in person with us at the Apartment Investor National Conference. Has anyone heard of Nick Santonastasso? By the way, if you know of Nick, just type in the chat, you know Nick. How many people know Nick? This guy's going to blow you away. He's in his 20s. He's a multimillionaire, and he's got one arm and no legs. And he's one of the happiest guys I've ever seen. Okay. And so if he can overcome adversity and be successful with one arm and no legs, then you can overcome whatever is going on in your mind. Because most of us here probably have two arms and two legs, but yet we're not as successful as Nick. We're not as happy as Nick. We're not as fulfilled as Nick. Okay. So Nick is going to be outstanding. He is outstanding. He's a good friend. Just going down the line, we have Pete Vargas. Now, Pete is an expert and a master at communication. And Pete works with some of the biggest names in the world, like Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Dean Graziosi. Some of the biggest network marketers in the world have Pete on their team. And Pete's going to be here, and he's going to be teaching us how to better communicate so that we can win more deals and raise more money. Win more deals and raise more money. Then, of course, we have the Sun Rocks, me and Jen. And I'm going to be teaching a lot too and facilitating, and Jen's going to deliver a powerful session herself. You betcha. Okay. And next up, we have Tressa Todd. Now, Tressa runs a huge organization and has so many specialties. She has a big community of over 4,000 investors, and she's going to be teaching a lot about investing, market selection, management, and she is a great resource. The next guy is John Chang. John is with Marcus and Millichap. He's the number 2 guy in the organization. And John is an expert on markets and research and data. And so what John does is he studies the markets and the research and the data, the interest rates, the debt, the pricing, and he talks about what's happening right now and what strategies we need to be employing to be successful. And he watches very closely the actions of the Fed and what they do and how it impacts our business. So just imagine every Marcus and Millichap broker in the country is being supported and fed their research information by John Chang, and he's going to be at our conference. Next up, of course, we have none other than Mr. Robert Kiyosaki, the best-selling personal finance author of all time. The author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant, The Cash Flow Game, and so many other things. And he's going to be in person in Dallas. And then last but not least, we have Charlie Young. And Charlie and his firm bought 3 times as many apartment deals in the past 12 months as Grant Cardone. You see, everybody knows Grant Cardone because he's a huge marketer. Charlie is not a huge marketer, but he just puts his head down and buys deals, and he buys big deals. And Charlie's going to be talking about what he's buying, how's he buying it, how is he raising the money, how they're managing the deals, and what's happening right now in the market. Okay, so this conference is going to be unique. These speakers have never been assembled before. to be all together at one event, the information they're going to teach and share with you is never going to be repeated again. Never going to be repeated again. And Jack, it's Nick Santanastasso. He's got one arm and no legs. And he's one of the most successful, happiest, most fulfilled people I know. Okay. And he's going to deliver some very powerful content. He's one of Tony Robbins' main speakers. Okay. So this is our lineup for August 25th, 6th, and 7th. Now, here are the ticket options. The general admission is a in-person experience, and you can see everything that's included in it. All the bonuses we're including is of $3,000 plus value, and we're offering this for $349. You get our apartment investor home study course, our apartment investor assessment, and we're going to do 4 bonus sessions, 3 before the event and 1 after the event. You'll get lunch all 3 days at the event, and the networking is going to be priceless. So that's the general admission experience. The platinum experience, you get the home study, the self-assessment, the planning sessions, all the things you get in general admission, with the bonuses of all the platinums together are going to have a special lunch. And you're going to have more proximity to me, more proximity to my team, and more proximity to the speakers for those of you that invest in the platinum ticket option. And the big bonus for the platinums is everybody goes home after day 3, and the platinums, we all stay together on day 4 and have 1 full day of extra content. Okay. So the platinum ticket experience is valued at almost $7,000, and we're offering it for $899. And then finally, we have your at-home experience where you could watch the event from the safety and convenience of your home anywhere in the world. And we will also gift to you the home study course, the assessment, and you could participate in the pre-event planning sessions and the post-event implementation session. That package is worth almost $3,000, and we're offering it at $99. So those are the 3 ticket options. And the question I get asked a lot is, why should I attend the event, and what's going to happen, and who is it for? So why you should attend is it's 3 days of content from me and my hand-selected speakers. And what are we going to teach? Is we are going to teach the 6 steps to being a millionaire apartment investor. Things like mindset, markets, marketing, how we make money, mechanics, and mastery. Okay, we're going to teach these things step by step. There's going to be amazing networking that we're going to facilitate, and that are going to happen before and after the event starts and ends, that y'all will meet up with each other in the mornings and in the evenings with hundreds of people that could potentially be your future investors. It's the only event of its kind a year with the speaker lineup and the seating, the in-person seating. There's no limit to virtual, but the in-person seating is limited. Okay, and that's why you want to buy now. 1 is that the in-person seating is limited. 2 is that prices are going up tonight, and we have a money-back guarantee. If you buy tickets for the event and you attend and you don't get value, I'm going to give you your money back, no questions asked. So I take away all your risk. So there's only upside for you, and there's no downside. Okay, only upside, no downside. So again, I just want to close by saying that waiting is probably the most toxic thing you could do. Okay, I never met anybody in 2009 or 10 that said, dang, I wish I would have waited. Dang, I wish I would have bought less deals. And I'm telling you, we're in that time right now. I showed you the market cycles. I showed you where we're at. We're down 21% from the peak. And I promise you this, for those that wait, you're going to regret it. And a year from now, you're going to wish you had started today. For those of you that take action, the best action you could take is to invest in yourself. And I shared with you this. I read Robert Kiyosaki's books, and it taught me the principles of cash flow, getting out of the rat race, and ESBI. And it taught me that I wanted to be a business owner and investor. But reading his books didn't change my life. It was the action I took. So I sought out real estate investing education, and I went to a local seminar, very similar to the seminar that I'm doing in August. And so people ask me, Brad, how did you get started? because I want to do the same thing. I want to model your success. So if you want to model my success, then model my actions. And my actions were, I read the books, I got inspired, and I went to a seminar. So for many of you, maybe you read the books, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing from me, but don't stop here. Take the same actions that I took and come to my seminar where I'm going to teach you the steps that you need to become a millionaire apartment investor. Okay. So again, just to recap, there's 3 ticket experiences. There's the platinum experience. Actually, this is not updated. The platinum is $8.99. The in-person is $349, and the virtual is $99. And those correct prices will be at that website when you take a picture of that QR code. So actually, let me go back to the other one. Make sure it's correct here. This one here. There you go. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to close the, make sure you guys have the QR code. Make sure you take a picture of that QR code. And again, if you want the result that I've had, where I've 100x my net worth over the last 2 decades, then the very simple answer is take the same actions I did and invest in a 3-day experience. You won't regret it. 100% money back guarantee. So I'm going to stop and just see how we're doing. And I like to keep these to about an hour, and I'm right on track. So super excited that you all tuned in tonight. And how many people are coming to the August event? Let me just see. If you're coming, type in the chat box. Go ahead, type it in. I am coming to the event. Yes, Nicholas. Yes, Zahel. Yes, Chris. Yes, Charles. Yes, Patricia. Yes, Candace, Greg, Christopher, Robert Kiyosaki is going to be here. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Robert's going to be on stage day 1. Now, why am I telling you that? A lot of people skip day 1. It's Friday. Some people were traveling. Some people were working. They're like, oh, I'll come Saturday and Sunday. I am telling you now, and I'm not going to tell you when every speaker is speaking. Okay, that's a secret. I'm not going to give away everything. I'm not going to give you the entire, like, when, who's speaking when, and all that type of stuff. But I am telling you, Robert Kiyosaki is speaking in person on Friday, August 25th. So you want to make sure that you're not only here, you want to make sure that you are here for day 1 on August 25th. Any questions like where could we stay? You're coming from out of the country, email support. The location will be revealed. It's in downtown Dallas, Texas at a major hotel. And go ahead and email support if you have questions about the event, about registration, about the tickets, about what's included in each of the ticket packages, and and where you should stay and all that type of stuff. So folks, it's been great. It's been fun. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I hope you realize that your mindset is your biggest skill set. That was the main message, is your mindset is your biggest skill set. And so if you're anxious, if you're fearful, if you're confused, if you're distracted, hopefully I've given you some tips and strategies in order to overcome that. And I guarantee it, it's going to happen at the 3-day event, because you will be connected with hundreds of other people that are doing it. You're going to be learning from me and all the other speakers on stage. So it's going to be contagious, and you're going to be networking with all these other people that are doing it. And so if your mindset isn't where it needs to be right now, you need to be at this event, because that's one of the main things you're going to get. Is you're going to get clarity. You're going to get all your confusion is going to go away. You're going to get clarity. You're going to get confidence, and you're going to get connected, and you're going to have community. So I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and email support@bradsumrock.com with any questions you might have. Thanks for tuning in, and good night.